really want to begin first by saying something about the spiritual dimension of people's lives, generally, before I come to my specific topic. And to observe that more and more research is showing that people are innately spiritual, that this is not something with which they are infected, a virus from outside, for example, and it is not something that is acquired by them as a result of external influence. Though, of course, how they express their spirituality does depend on one or other tradition to which they may belong. Quite a lot of research has been done, for example, in Britain on those people who do not belong to any kind of organized religion. And it has been discovered that they nevertheless have a definite spirituality, even if they can't talk about it very clearly. Similarly, research has been done among children, which has shown that children are innately spiritual. And furthermore, that it is grown-ups who drive out the spirituality from them. And that should be a sobering thought for us. I want to say this because the personal dimension of the spiritual is very important for people, whoever they may be. People use it to make sense of their lives, to give direction for themselves, and in a whole number of other ways, as you know. But of course, the spiritual becomes religion, if you like, when we think of the corporate aspect. In fact, that is what the word religion means. It is how societies, communities, groups of people are held together. Religion, in this sense, can be called the glue that sticks society together. And in every society down the ages and across cultures, it is religion that has provided the grounding for the values, the laws, the customs of any particular society or community. This understanding of religion as a force for social cohesion has only recently begun to be challenged, particularly, you won't be surprised to know, by the British School of Sociologists, for example, who have held, among other things, that the legitimacy that religion provided in the past has now been replaced by democracy, according to them, and that the care that religious institutions provided for people has now been replaced by the welfare state. Now, I think even in the British context, this is a thesis somewhat difficult to believe. Roy very kindly mentioned my experience in Parliament, and in Parliament, again and again, we are faced with fundamental issues having to do with the human person, the beginnings of the human person, at the other end of the scale, the end of a human life, questions about mental capacity, how those are addressed, about basic institutions of society, which cannot be settled simply by counting heads. You have to appeal to other, I would call transcendental principles, to settle such issues, even in the making of public policy and indeed of legislation. Also, the welfare state, of course, I'm sure here, as in Britain, provides for many of our needs, but not all of them. A psychiatrist was noted recently as saying, well, for people with depression, I can prescribe Prozac, but I can't give them meaning in their lives. Loneliness, proper and stable relationships. I mean, these are not things that the welfare state can prescribe. So, the need for moral and spiritual beliefs, if you like, to undergird society, that remains. Listening to what David was saying just now about the purpose of the Slater Maguire Lecture, I mean, that certainly seems to be a contribution that the churches and other religious communities should make in the society in which they find themselves. But I want also to note that religion is not simply a force for cohesion. There is another aspect of religion, which we might want to call the prophetic. This is not going with the grain of society, but from time to time being able to challenge what is happening in society. And the so-called Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity and Islam, can be noted particularly for this aspect of religious belief, the prophetic, where the individual can challenge the collective, where the poor can ask for relief, as it were, from the oppression of the wealthy, and so on. And it is not only the Abrahamic religions, other religious traditions also can be seen as having this aspect of the religious. For example, one way of understanding Buddhism, there are many ways, of course, of understanding a great religion like Buddhism, but one way is certainly to be seen as a challenge to the Hindu caste system. And that is also true of Sikhism, for example. And even within Hinduism, there have been movements like the bhakti, like the devotional movement of bhakti, which can be seen as a challenge to caste. So there is this prophetic as well as the cohesive aspect to the expression of religion in society.